In Canada. Made in Canada. Kevorkian Euthanasia Highway Blazer. This one's messed up, man. Even a tongue twister, but Canada's essentially saying if you can't pay your bills, kill yourself with your doctor-assisted suicide. Have you seen the commercial for this? Before we even hop in, I really want to show off. There was a clothing commercial that's been sponsored for Simon's All Is Beauty campaign that talks about the beauty killing yourself. Let's take a look before we talk.
Dying in a hospital is not what's natural. That's not what's soft. And in these kinds of moments, you need softness. Last breaths are sacred.
Beautiful imagery, huts.
When I imagine my final
tears.
days, I see bubbles.
This could almost be an insurance commercial.
I see the ocean.
That's gross.
I see
it is
music. I see cheesecake. Even now, as I seek help to end my life, there is still so much beauty. You just have to be brave enough to see it.
Jennifer, June 1985 to October 2022. And come to find out, Jennifer, who was pushed as part of this Die With Dignity campaign that they're coming out, come to find out from her friend, didn't want to die. However,
didn't want to die.
They didn't want to cover her medical procedures anymore. So no longer do they want to spend money. Remember, Canada has socialized healthcare.
Yeah.
And the socialized healthcare, by the way, I'm Talon Truth.
Mark Santana.
Mark Karoshi.
The socialized healthcare has always been kind of pushed as a benefit, right? Even with the delay of service going as long as several years for heart surgery, organ transplant. However, in 2016 and 2017, Canada had an idea. They thought, what if we started offering people with long-term medical issues the idea of having doctor-assisted suicide, or MAiD.
Medically assisted death. Medically assisted death,
But
MAiD.
they added I in it because they want to make it sound like a service. They're facilitating your end in a peaceful manner.
Yeah, if you leave it as just MAiD, I was
What
cracking
does
up.
the I stand for again?
Medically assist,
Medically assisted death.
in death.
Oh, in death, right? Okay, yeah.
Just MAiD by itself is scary,
Negative connotations,
right? But by itself, MAiD, that's or it reminds you of that fantastic comment from the 90s. But you add that little I in there, and a MAiD will come to your house and offer you these services. That's what it sounds like, you know. It's cleaning up the dirty.
But
you're dirty, so kill yourself.
But the real motherfucker about this is the fact that they're pushing it like it is a choice. However, they're kind of putting it as a catch-all choice. Whereas, let's say, for example, they've been offering it to homeless individuals who no longer afford to pay bills because they got hurt or they're disabled or they have back injury. And then, because you can no longer pay your bills, the government doesn't offer you any sort of assistance. If you can't get care, get dead. And death
you could just
is
get
good.
dead.
Because death is good because it allows organs to be used for people who need the organ transplant. See, the real trickster of this, everybody who gets organ transplants or is an organ donor, shout out to Nova Scotia for those. You need to check your ID. You're an automatic opt-in if you're in Canada and you're in Nova Scotia province.
Yeah.
You are opted in. You have to select to opt out of organ donors. But the dark secret about organ donating to begin with is there is a call that a doctor has to make when you have offered your organs for donation, that they are no longer going to pursue your life. They cannot allow you to medically die and then take organs. Once the blood stops flowing in your organs, it's inviable for transplant. That's why they have these high express services that do transfers of hearts, livers, kidneys that are always packaged and shipped freshly full of blood and iced down as cold as they possibly can, as quick as they possibly can, to restart it and puts the blood through as fast as possible. If the person dies, whatever illness, natural causes, they would not be able to extract the organ to use it. However, medically assisted death proves a growing boon to organ donation in Ontario. Ontario's waiting list for organs typically hovers around 1,600 without any great headway made to eliminate that number. But the breakdown of this one is that in the first 11 months of 2019, MAiD patients in the province accounted for 18 organ and 94 tissue donors, a 14% increase over 2018 and a 109% increase over 2017.
Yeah.
According to the Trillium Gift of Life Network, which oversees organ and tissue donation in Ontario, the 133 MAiD-related donations in 2019 accounted for 5% of overall donations in Ontario, a share that has also been increased.
So there's big money in organ donations, but not from the people that are donating because you're fucking dead, but the folks that are in hospitals.
It's not for hospitals specifically. It's for, you have to figure that right now there's an ongoing medical fight right now. First off, the difference between vaccinated blood and unvaccinated blood is something founded upon future just for this COVID-19 impacts that are just being discussed from politicians, how the plot happens. But imagine that you're having experience of long COVID, now the government offers you a way of living your life. However, counterpoint to that, you are a Canadian citizen who follows all the rules, but you express the fact that you support the truckers who are convoying, who donated to the trucker convoy that happened earlier on in this year. Not only can they remove you from their banks, but they also state that due to your political affiliation, they could deem you as medically incompetent. Now, with the expansion in March 2023 of mental illness.
Now it's physical illness. If you're physically ill in March 2023, they're going to expand that to a mental illness as well. So you're saying is if they deem you to be mentally ill,
appreciate it, Angelina,
then hey, why don't you kill yourself?
But the problem is who defines what mental illness is. We already have a problem in the end of the day where the person who dictates what is normal is insane. Like Justin Trudeau is taking Nazi Germany's Action T4 protocol, where they were exterminating Down syndrome, 300,000 medically euthanized individuals in Germany.
Patients, correct? These were psychiatric
these
patients.
Were Down syndrome people, and people who are medically incapable of living without assistance. And Trudeau has already put it forth in Canada that there's a new article, C, that's coming out to remove access to semi-automatic firearms. So they're removing the platform of defense. They're establishing a pipeline for the government to choose who lives and dies, and doctors are eroding their own Hippocratic oath and all the wealth and well-being.
Yeah, that oath doesn't mean anything.
It really does.
You asked a question a second ago, who is the one that decides what mental illness is? The government does, because it's not a private company stepping in saying, hey, if you're not feeling well, we can go ahead and put you under with the help of our medication. It's, of course, it's government entities that are dictating, whether or not you can go under. So, of course, it's the government, who we all know very well and trust, that's going to be determining what makes mental illness so bad that you can voluntarily execute yourself. Speaking of which, where are they getting this medication? Because here in the States, they're always arguing about the concoctions that they give these prisoners to execute. They don't work. So, I mean, but here there's over 10,000 that just in 2022 alone. We need some of that. We need that medication over here.
Last year, more than 10,000 people in Canada, astonishingly over 3% of all deaths there, ended their lives via euthanasia.
10,000.
An increase of a third on the previous year. Next year, which is 2023, Canada is set to allow people to die exclusively for mental health reasons. So a sick society that's pushing their ills and pressure, like locking people up for a couple of years and preventing them from socializing, is having a mental health cost. And instead of dealing with the mental health cost by the sick society, what we're rather doing is setting up a sponsored human sacrifice ritual that emulates in history where we've medically euthanized people for being genetic abominations. Now, mind you, they're also going to include mature minors, which are minors that believe that they're mature enough and depressed enough that they don't have to get parental permission in order to kill themselves.
And when you say minors, we're talking about the ages of
12 to 17.
17. Oh, yeah, buddy. That's evil. That's evil.
Isn't that the beauty of it, right? So one of the headways, and this is as a veteran, one of the things that really pisses me off was this Canadian veteran called Christine Gother was offered an extraordinary alternative after a 5-year fight of being a 2016 Paralympic representative for the great glory of Canada. All she wanted was a wheelchair lift for her home.
Hey, I need to get up and down my stairs. Have you thought about suicide? How many years did she wait for that? 5, you said?
5 years.
So that's a government-sponsored program that they have there in Canada. That they can get. In Canada,
it's a governmentally sponsored program. The Veterans Administration offered as an alternative in a direct letter stating that, hey, we hear you. You're frustrated that you can't go up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
I have a way for you to go downstairs permanently. Kill yourself. Have you tried suicide?
It's the cure-all. Literally all of your pain.
When it's convenient for us.
Right? When it's convenient.
Yeah.
Mrs. Gother, who injured her back in a training accident in 1989, competed for Canada in 2016 Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro and the Invictus Games the same year. Despite being confined to a wheelchair with musculoskeletal disorder which affects her legs, backs, and hips, she's a gold medal winning para-canoeist.
I thought you were going to say paraplegic.
I mean, technically, it's a little shaky, but she blows her back out every time she goes on stand.
What was her name again? Matt?
Matt Karoshidrop?
Yep.
I wonder what they do with the souls because the patient's given permission. So they give permission to access their souls and they use the energy, they just keep looping it. Well, when we're talking about the ritual here, the real pipeline that people have to remember, and I need to stress this, you are not dead when they harvest your organs. A doctor makes the call to start harvesting you, and the process in which they're going to do it for the individuals in the future is they're going to take anybody who signs up for this.
Yes.
If you're healthy, they're going to start killing you by removing your organs one by one while leaving the heart for the last. And you must not be dead, which means that you could possibly be awake but sedated at the time when this is happening.
What is that called when you have those out-of-body experiences when you are sedated, but you can feel
paralysis?
Everything? No, there's
technically some kind of sleep paralysis. There's been a very rare amount of cases where people have been like, oh no, I've got under and I couldn't move, but I could feel everything, I could hear everything, I could hear the surgeons making jokes and shit like that, and they were like, no you didn't. I was like, but you said this and you said that, and they were like, oh shit. But I haven't heard any recently.
Well, we'll probably hear about more of them come soon.
Will we, though? Because you have to remember.
Because they'll be dead eventually.
Touche.
Yeah, that's why I make sure my organs are all fucked up just in case. And here's the thing. You cannot... The way that they're setting it up now is that it's an auto opt-in in Canada. You opt in to donate your organs unless you specifically opt out of the program. In Nova Scotia, which is a province in Canada, this is an automatic. And the reason this is so important is, remember, Dr. Kevorkian in American literature, as a doctor, was a huge proponent of euthanasia. And we've seen euthanasia's, what are they called, death pods being approved in Sweden.
Yeah, the euthanasia
so
pods.
what we're seeing is every time something happens in Canada, usually within a year to 5 years, it happens in America. Don't know why it happens, but the fucking Maple Leafs are always on point for just the worst.
It's already happening in California.
I've got a question, though.
Yes.
In regards to the video that you played at the very start, which was effectively an advert for it, a very slick advert. How much money did that advert cost? And that lady who initially said, hey, I don't actually want to die, but they're effectively cutting me off from my medical aid. I'm just wondering, from that advert and the publishing of that advert on various different news websites and the amount of money that goes into that, I'm just wondering how much medical aid you could have paid for that particular woman.
Oh, you want to be even more brutal? That clothing company that did the advertisement was a loss leader during COVID.
Yeah, they were losing money left and right, hand over fist.
How do you mean?
They went out on a limb.
They were losing money during the COVID-19 pandemic in Canada. They were having to call people and say, "Hey, we don't have any money." Whoopsie. But wouldn't it be kind of stupid to advertise, as a clothing company, make an advertisement towards people that will become dead?
No, if you have a funeral line.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Which clothing company are you referring to? You've lost me.
The clothing company at the start it's the YouTube video of...
Oh, no. So, hang on. I thought that was an advert for, like, pro-euthanasia.
Yes,
I didn't realize that was an advert for, like, here's a person going out in their last life. Oh, yeah, by the way, buy Gap fucking jeans.
Well, the woman featured in pro-euthanasia commercial wanted to live, says Friends. I feel like I'm fun. You know what? Ad blocker.
It was a clothing company that essentially invested in the pro-euthanasia commercial.
And not only did they invest in it, but they pushed it, right?
Pushed it.
But why?
Did you watch the whole thing, right, Karoshi?
I couldn't watch it with sound because like the delay and listening to you guys and yada, yada, yada. But I watched it and I was like, it looked very slick.
Did you notice one thing else that you won't find in any other Canadian commercial?
Go on.
Did you notice the lack of diversity? That's what he's getting at.
Yeah. It was all white people.
Okay, no, I didn't actually. That went over my head.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a Home Alone commercial.
It was definitely every single last person was white, when any other commercial, especially coming out of Canada, is going to be so diverse. They have, quotas that they have to fill, except for when it comes to euthanasia.
So I have another example of, so these are not brain dead organ donors. I need to stress this one. It's got to be feeling each piece of you plucked out while you're immobilized. Retinas harvested, liver, kidneys, lungs. I've got a screenshot that is an example of a woman who overdosed on Xanax.
Did they Narcan her?
And her family said it was okay to donate her organs.
Her family, not even her.
Her family said it was okay. Despite all the signs that Burns was alive and has had brain function, a nurse injected her with a sedative and failed to note it on the chart. Even when she's being prepared outside the operating room for organ harvesting, her nostrils flared and she could breathe independently from the respirator. She was also moving her lips and tongue. But it was only when Burns actually, in the operating room, had opened her eyes, the doctors called off the procedure.
Jeez.
So what they've done...
And which country was that?
Canada.
Ugh.
Right. Canadian veteran suffering from PTSD and a traumatic brain injury was offered euthanasia when he called the Veteran Affairs Canadian hotline for help, as Canadian government orders full and thorough investigation in the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fucking dark timeline, I'll tell you that.
Amir Farsad, 54, applied for Canada's controversial medically assisted in dying. That's the whole thing. Medical assistance in dying.
Medical. Trust us.
You know what I'm saying? Like
It's
they really stretch this this initialism or acronym out so they get exactly what they want. Multicrism is great from the side from euthanasia. Well, it's selective breeding. What they're doing is they're controlling the genetic pool, and they're offering more and more control for the tribal leaders over the individual life of the clans that live under them. And what we've allowed is these anonymous faces who are voted in. I use hard quotes on votes. Who allow you to be chosen for death based on your political affiliation, the amount of money that you have in your bank account, indivisible numbers, not your value to society or your experience. Even somebody specifically who's been injured in war can teach new soldiers how to avoid that specific scenario and also offer a great example of what not to do.
See, if I was the one that was putting this together and the government said it was okay for my hospital to do this, I would call it assisted in death / suicide. Let's call it AIDS. People don't really like AIDS, so they'd probably stay away from it, hopefully.
Here's the more beautiful... Here's the tie. Like, remember, individual parts don't make a Lego set.
True.
No.
Yeah.
So they've got MAiD right now for people with disabilities, right? Crucial pain problems. However, there's the possibility of combining this practice with organ donation through the controlled donation after cardiac death, or CDCD protocol.
No, I've got, like, if you take away the whole financial element out of it, it's really fucking practical. Because if someone, as an example, like the guy a few months back, he was in a bike accident, and I'm sure there was a scramble to go, okay, can we harvest? Okay, yeah, we can. What can we harvest? Okay. And then, like, okay, can we use, how many of these can we, like, shove in different people? Okay, we can save one person. But if you go to, like, a completely practical, go, okay, what is this person's DNA? What is this person's blood type? Okay, so this person potentially is going to be dead in the next 3 years. Let's do a quick search of our system. Okay, we could potentially save 20, 25, 18, whatever, people's lives with this one person. If we time all the operations to happen on the one day, the harvesting to happen on day one, like in hour
that's
one,
the pros of the organ harvesting. And then, yeah, absolutely.
the thing you got to remember about that is every single one of those doctors, every single one of those surgeons, every single one of those anesthesiologists, all those medical experts, everyone involved is getting fucking paid, and the hospital's getting paid for everything. So there is a very, like, kind of Black Mirror kind of like, hey, listen, you know, yeah, we can't sort your chair out so you can get up and down the stairs in your home, but how would you feel about euthanasia? Oh, by the way, we've already got like 30 people lined up.
And you could
this
save
guy's gonna
them
have
all.
your heart.
Yeah, you can save the lives of everybody.
There's a picture and there's a little chart with it, and this is Billy. You know, he's 8 years old. You know, he likes playing football, and that, you know, proper football, not what you guys call soccer, but football and things like that. And this is little Jenny. She's 12 years old. She likes skip rope. Is that what 12 years old's like? I don't know anymore, but who gives a fuck?
So the eligibility.
You could technically just go, hey, listen, and then like twist someone's arms into going, hey, listen, your life's shit, but if we end your life, we could save all these people.
Remember,
I think that is very, 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 very dark Black Mirror kind of
slippery slope.
It's not even dark or slippery slope. Yeah, right. But here's the thing, right? We just saw this with the Canadian trucker convoy rebellion that happened. That was a peaceful protest earlier in January. What happens when, instead of just locking out your bank account because you supported the truckers, they decide to keep your accounts frozen so you never get your money back, till the point where you're homeless and destitute, and the government starts shuffling you as a political dissident towards, oh, you broke your arm, well, we're not going to cover your medical care, but we will offer you suicide.
That's one way to get rid of an entire group of what you call dissenters. Don't believe in your cause.
Fuck Billy, right?
Mad curiosity, who is the biggest exporter of biomaterial? Organs
China.
In humans. Okay. So they're the biggest exporter. Okay. How much is that worth?
Israel is one of the biggest importers.
Okay.
Canada, United States of America, about a large group, almost 3.5% of all the things we export is just blood in America.
Yeah,
and it's
I remember
it's a $1 trillion industry.
It's yeah.
Are biomaterials just human body parts, tissues?
Well, you got to remember,
blood?
Foreskin, stem cells, biomaterial can be all of the body.
Yeah.
It's like using the human horn, the lower human horn.
Gotcha. So that would make sense that China.
I mean, everything has a use. Like,
look, hypothetically, if we were using this to, for example, and this is just an extreme example, purge the world of undesirable genetic defects that will never be able to live a meaningful life and will always have to be assisted to the point where they're a burden not only on themselves but everyone around them, as the tribe will not be able to feed them in the ever-shrinking, colder life that we live as we alienate each other for benefits. Like, at what point are you going to be like, well, sucks that you're paraplegic, run to the store, right?
Ouch.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what point are we as a culture, Canada's culture, designed to save each other, save thy neighbor, right? That's always more been less of a civilization thing and more of a religion thing. And now that governments are supplanting religions by doing the negative origin story, the tainted origin story, we no longer have that unifying sense of camaraderie, and we no longer have tribes that resist or even complain hard enough to stop this reckless behavior. So at what point do we just not kneel and die?
Well, hang on. Who said, well, no kneeling and dying. Those knees might be worth something. You keep those knees nice and fresh. So
I mean, here's the real ethical motherfucker, and here's where I find this is going to be brutal. When cloning is approved, but clones aren't treated as human because their DNA isn't like unaltered DNA. It's considered altered DNA so that they don't require approval to be extracted from. So you could grow banks of humans that are sentient beings, grow them to a specific age, like accelerate the aging of them or grow them over time to be 13, 14-year-olds, crack the case open, their life is only, they wake up to die.
Who's to say that's not happening?
Well, according to the fact that Canada has a cloning industry.
Now, why would they do all that work just to wake them up, essentially, and kill them to get their organs when I could get an iPhone 15 much faster, or a guaranteed that I'll get one next time I go to the store?
What you've got to remember is that there are genetic abnormalities that go long-term untreated with inbreeding, and that certain cultures are huge proponents of inbreeders, specifically those who believe themselves royalty.
Oof,
royalty
sounds like a lot of white people
fucking themselves, right?
I mean, I'd fuck me.
Europe's a whole fucking mess of. Just our royal family is effectively all Germans, like so.
So you add to that admixture the idea that you could take a perfect clone of yourself at your healthiest age and then put those organs in you with 100% integration. And we know that they're cloning human meat to eat in America You take celebrity meat and you can buy celebrity meat to eat. So we know that the technology is being used to clone, and we know the fact that they're starting euthanasia. They start pushing out the homeless. They start putting out the political dissidents. They start crushing anybody who has an opinion that they don't like. And everybody goes lockstep, or you're just the person who disappears tomorrow.
You made a comment about the homeless, which is funny because they're also doing this in California, which has a huge homeless problem. And they've been promising for the past 10, 20 years. Oh, yeah, that they're going to fix it. We're going to throw all the money at it. All the money. You just give us money and we'll fix it.
The only solution that they've ever actually come up with in America is to give them a bus ticket to another city.
Either the bus ticket or to stop the price of housing. They do what do they call it? They lock the housing market so the price of rent can't increase, so they can try to put all these homeless people in these, like, you know, in these apartment buildings, but then all these other contractors don't want to come in and build anymore because they can't charge money that they want. Yeah, they can't charge the money that they want for these brand new buildings.
Outside of that, though, we have the housing crisis to begin with, where Native Canadians and Americans on a single salary are unable to buy a home and not spend 30 years paying it off, mortgage or a death wage.
Yeah. Yeah, a death wage. I like that. Now, which one of y'all would take up these services? What would it take for you to be like, okay, give me the pills, give me the fentanyl, I'm ready to check out? What kind of disease?
The worst part is you couldn't take those pills or that fentanyl. Remember, they have to get you in the operating room without damaging your organs with any chemicals that could harm your organs. And a lot of the chemicals that they use for painless passing would ruin the organs for use.
So anytime you want to do an assisted suicide, you have to give up your organs? Is that part of like the, hey now, we'll kill you, but we want that heart?
No, it's part of the added benefit that they figured out they could do through the approval process.
So you
now
want to keep all your organs.
They conflagrate it. Remember, it takes many Legos to make a set. Yeah. One of the Legos is medically assisted and dying, MAiD. Another Lego would be organs and the transplant ratio. Another one would be socialized healthcare and the time that you have, unless you're a politician or somebody who has enough money to bribe.
So if you lost your penis, like a freak horse riding accident,
if I lost my penis,
you wouldn't
I'd
even
take yours.
consider this. You wouldn't consider it?
Absolutely not. I could live life as a eunuch. I wouldn't enjoy it,
that would
but
be
I
terrible.
could live it.
Oh, that'd be terrible. I don't know.
I feel like we have one shot to live on this hellscape that we call the world.
Yeah.
You might as well enjoy it.
But wouldn't that mess up all of your hormones and whatnot?
It does,
You can't
actually.
produce any testosterone?
I'd probably be able to sing better. No, wait, they'd have to do that. That's what they used to do in Catholic choirs, is they castrate the young boys to keep that specific pitch and tenor for the choir.
That's a real thing?
That's a real thing,
that can't be real, surely. When was that happening?
Well, it is the Catholic Church.
That was really big in Brazil.
Oh, give me a second.
Okay.
Or Spain.
Karoshi and I are both clickety-clackety.
What decade are we talking about here? Are we talking like, you know...
We're talking about yesterday, right? Smile. It doesn't seem ideal. Crazy that some people are willing to lose those things. I feel like the combination of just being able to choose to kill yourself shouldn't have been something that required a doctor to begin with. And I feel like adding a doctor taints the message of the Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath, imagine doctors and their control over people's individual choices and care is a very delicate thing. When they erode the trust in the medical industry and people stop going, the whole thing collapses.
Christ almighty, this is totally real.
It is.
It's a real thing. The 1600s, yes.
Yes.
I mean, if someone gets pulled into hospital, right, this person has slit their wrists, okay? You have a democratic, what was the word you used?
Hippocratic Oath?
Hippocratic, that's one.
And a democratic one.
They elude me sometimes. Yeah, the Hippocratic Oath in regards to that. You have an oath to save that person. They tried to kill themselves, but you have an oath to try and save that person.
Well, do you know where the Hippocratic Oath comes from?
When paperwork's involved in regards to, say, yeah, it's like, okay, so we've signed the contract. This, this particular person's going to kill themselves, but it's on our books. That's okay. Not sure about that. I think there's going to be a lot of doctors that are going to push back on that.
Well, doctors aren't getting any pushback for doing experimental medical surgeries on children in America.
No, I'm referring to doctors saying, no, I didn't sign up to kill people.
Well,
that's what I'm referring to.
The Democratic oath is to be annoying and to try and silence opposition. No, it is, but it's also to grievance campaign everybody, Jacob. Grievance campaign for profit.
You just skim right by that. That's pretty funny.
The oath of 𝐂𝐎𝐿𝐿 is where the Hippocratic Oath comes from. I swear by this oath in recognition of 𝐂𝐿𝐿, healer and physician of antiquity, with God as my witness, to uphold these lofty values to the best of my ability, to give proper honor to our Creator, the greatest physician of all, who's passed to us the secrets of the art of healing, not for our glory, but for the benefit of man. First fucking step, you shouldn't have an atheist doctor to begin with.
No, you shouldn't, but you know what? Money.
Again, money seems to be the concern. I mean, they treat the medical industry instead of care. How is it that they still haven't found a cure for cancer, which is a leading cause of death all across the world?
I know that answer. Money.
Money.
Yeah.
It's better to have a lifetime subscription than it is to have a one-time purchase. For a business model.
We've all played Theme Hospital, haven't we? So.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
buddy, you're bringing me back.
That is a cold, dark, wonderful game. However, and the reason that I'm adding this is the Canadian MAiD Curriculum Project Summary is a new camp that they're adding for doctors to debate the ethics of applying assisted suicide and surgery.
They have to debate these ethics?
What they're going to do is the curriculum will include synchronous and asynchronous online learning formats to be able to French and English to be delivered in in-person workshops. Rigorous implementation, research-focused evaluation process involving various user groups. It's political speak. It's corpo talk to say killing people is good for business.
Yeah.
You know why the transsexual industry is being pushed in people's face? Because it's bigger than the film industry. It's good for business. It's profitable. And now they found that elective surgery can go as far as getting people to kill themselves. You know what? Great. Then uncensor the internet and allow people to shit talk on it. You'll have as many weak mentals that you could ever want lining up in droves after a League of Legends match, one too many.
So these doctors are going to make probably a little bonus for putting these people under, because that's pretty a high-stress situation,
Well, you got to imagine, right? And none of this money is going towards relieving the debt of the citizen who donates their organs. They're not getting paid for it like they would on the black market.
They're getting bonuses with that. The people that are getting the new organs are also having to...
Poor people get a dartboard chemo treatment. Now,
ooh, that sounds like fun.
Well, the idea of the fact that they haven't figured out what cancer is, and yet again, I go back to this: how much of our long-term inflammation and pain issues are because we have parasites in us? You have things that cause inflammation that aren't being addressed, root causes.
Food. A lot of it is food. Also,
like
the stuff
GMO.
The stuff that you breathe in the environment.
Or stuff that you get from California, Washington, or Colorado, which now have human cadavers ground up into fertilizer.
You know, you have these folks that love to go on this whole organic wave, and everybody should eat organic. But if the entire world overnight they said no more using fertilizers and everybody would starve to death. And I see that as okay, then we need to use these fertilizers, but at the same time they're leaching into our water. Why don't we just teach everybody?
Are we not just focusing on sustaining our own civilization to begin with,
or our own food supply as individuals? The family. Here, let's teach the families how to grow their own food, and that would definitely subsidize.
But growing their own food and catching their own water in water barrels, and
depending on where you live, is illegal.
Wait, don't just pat it over that. Did you just say human cadavers and fertilizer? Oh yeah, we're talking, I know we're talking about Canada and the MAiD, you know, assisted death, but in America, they've been taking cadavers, grinding them up, and using them as fertilizer for growth.
Now, do those prions transfer into that carrot that I'm eating?
Yes.
Yeah, I personally don't see that as a problem in my eyes. There was a thing in the UK a while back in regards to mad cow disease, BSE, but that was caused by literally feeding cows, other cows.
Yeah,
and
brought
like,
to you
no,
by
no, no,
the
no,
leader
no.
of
Then,
who? The veterinarian who's in charge of a big pharmaceutical company that we talk about often was responsible for that exact fucking event in the UK, the mad cow disease. Yes, that's right. The veterinarian.
Wasn't he the veterinarian that all of a sudden got pushed to be like
the
a
CEO?
Director of Pfizer and the vaccines that were coming out? He was on like their board of directors, even though he'd only worked on animals.
No idea. But I just know that like just basic fucking like health and stuff like that is like, if you feed something the same thing, that is not a good thing. You feed a cow, another cow, that causes problems. This is something we've known about for a very, very fucking long time.
One of the reasons
I think there was. I think you mentioned studies in regards to cannibals, didn't you?
Yeah, we did cannibal studies, and also a lot of religious doctrine, the Quran, the Bible, the Torah. They all say about what you should eat. You know, things that you should eat, things that you should avoid. And one of the things that they always say to avoid in the majority of it is animals that are scavengers. So, for example, pigs. The reason pig is considered an unclean meat is that it's a universal glutton. It eats anything, including itself, which gives us the prions and the problems that they have. Or it could also eat humans, because one of the things that pigs do eat is they'll eat anything. And if you want to dispose of a body, man, I gotta tell you, pigs work.
Oh yeah, you never trust a pig farmer. One of the things I heard about as to why, like, it was a theory. I haven't got a paper on it, so I can't link to it. It was a
just talk. Speak your truth, brother.
There was a lot of theories in regards to, okay, why do Arabic countries and the Jewish community say pig is unclean? And one of the reasons why they were saying, well, the areas were very hot, very arid. It was very difficult to keep pigs in those particular areas. But I would argue it's probably easier to keep pigs in those types of conditions than it is, say, a cow.
Well, and I got to tell you, you're right for the grazing purposes, but pigs are just unclean to begin with because they also are often filled with parasites. Parasites cause inflammation. Drink alcohol, it suppresses your vitamin C. If you suppress your vitamin C, parasites infect you. Humans are the only mammals that don't produce vitamin C naturally. We
also don't get tested for parasites.
We also are one of the only mammals. Our pets get tested for parasites when we take them to doctors, but we're some of the only animals that never get tested for parasites in any doctor facility ever.
Even as your cat is like rubbing its ass on your face while you sleep.
Which is where toxic plasmosis comes from, and a lot of these artificial inflammation and sexual attraction diseases come from. Because toxic plasmosis will influence your sexual behavior.
Wait, isn't that what the whole term, the crazy cat lady, comes from?
Yeah. And where they also have video of people who will eat cat shit.
That is weird.
Nom nom, Snickers.
Fuck.
Hungry? Why wait?
Oh, Jesus. That's so disgusting.
Well, it's because the parasite can only replicate inside of a cat's intestinal tract.
Who's eating this poop? I mean, besides my kid when they were like 7 months old.
Crazy cat ladies, pet store videos. You can look at it. Live Leak was a motherfucker.
Pet store videos.
Pet store videos. Yeah, one of the reasons that cats are not in cages that you can access to, and they're locked usually nowadays in those glass boxes.
Yeah,
is because people were eating the cat shit.
That's fucking disgusting.
But I've never heard of that. So.
Well, welcome to Gods and Prophets 62. Today you learned something just for you.
You're telling truth, and I'm Matt Karoshidrop, and I'm very sickened. There we go. So,
You didn't start sickened when I said they're going to try to push this on mature minors?
No.
I mean, like, I was all fine with, like, killing human beings to harvest their organs, but as soon as you started talking about eating cat shit, that's when I kind of like, no, I'm done. I'm out. There's no profit in that.
Fuck, marry, kill, crazy cat lady. Go.
There's no fucking profit in cat shit.
Fuck.
I'd hit it. I just plug my nose and fight my way through all the ammonia.
Look, and see, that's the thing when you're talking about just how twisted a thing can be is its perception, right? We look at euthanasia with a sense of morality that's usually impacted by our personal experiences since childhood and our own beliefs on what it is to be ourselves. The belief is that you value yourself enough that if you were hurt, you would take care of you, right? The expectation is that when you are hurt and you're going to a medical professional, a doctor, you're going to be healed. They're going to give the 100% best effort. But if you're telling me that there is a way, just like in America, for people to make money, like the pharmaceutical agencies have been doing by pushing drugs, just like the fentanyl and opioid crisis in America, pushing pills to subscribe to their pain problems.
Yeah.
Same thing. If you give doctors the way, hey, we're going to give you $10,000 extra if you find this many livers by this time.
I'm there.
Insurance companies don't want to pay out for all those medical expenses, and they would push for that. For sure.
It's always
I mean, it's the same way as like, okay, it's like we've got all these fucking prisons where we're getting all this fucking free labor. Can't speak about Canada, don't know enough about it, but I know that's present in America. And then it's like, okay, so how about all these persons who have misdemeanors where we could give them a slap on the wrist and give them, various of the, punishments other than prison time, and they all get prison time, and then they're making money for, these prisons.
Private corporations that usually use prisoners for menial labor that undercut local businesses.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yep. No, I think as soon as you start treading down that path of like, okay, well, euthanasia, okay, we're cool with that, but also now, okay, we could potentially harvest said organs. Not that is not a good thing, because then you're going to start getting like a bit of a kind of ring around the roses kind of.
Why are we bullshitting around the disc? Why we're beating around a bush that just boils down to money's the root of all evil.
Oh no, word, definitely. Because what you're going to have is you're going to have insurance companies going, okay, this person's sick. We don't want to pay out for that. Okay, let's have
mandatory insurance that you don't get to choose to pay for.
Yeah, the cheaper alternative is euthanasia. Okay, if we euthanasia, can we harvest your organs? Equals money. And then every single one of those persons gets a fucking cut. Not, that doesn't
that's a
sound
quick way to the darkest of paths, which is human ritual sacrifices being publicly endorsed. But the way that the information's used, it's pitched, right? And this is just, it's pitched publicly like a PR campaign.
Yeah.
Like it's a good thing. This is a great release. This is a burden. Family no longer has to worry about you, care about you. You're finally free. You no longer have to struggle with your day to day. It burns when you stand up. I know it's hard to roll over, and work is just getting harder and harder to find as people get more and more short-tempered and impatient. But if you kill yourself and you do it, you could maximize the health benefit all your fellow human beings.
Ask away.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. If I'm due to be killed. Okay, and they're like, right, okay, yeah, we're gonna euthanize you. Yeah, you've agreed to it. Everything and the other. Can I cut a deal where my family gets a check?
No, but you could do it on the black market.
Right. Okay.
I'd be so curious to know if these. I know you might say this is a stupid thought process, but
no stupid questions or thought processes. That's why we make this podcast, is to shoot the shit.
I'm so curious after this is going to be a thing for a couple years, if the same people that advocate for mass murderers not to be lethally injected are also going to be against the euthanasia.
Absolutely not.
I feel like they wouldn't be, right? Because one is, it's kind to put these people out of their suffering.
Pro-abortionists are going to support pro-killing yourself.
You think it's the?
I think they're just going to. What they're going to do is they're going to reframe it as a new way of choosing your existence. But remember, we've removed the sanctity of life. We've removed that little special zest of being alive.
Yeah, it's not a special thing anymore.
More like a number in the population count and not a member of a community. And that's the danger of this hyper push on individualism that we've had, where we've been divided all the way to the point where we're talking about, well, killing yourself is good for the companies that don't have to pay for your care. So we're not gonna, you either pay me $2 million or kill yourself to absolve yourself of debt.
That literally happened to that gentleman.
Damn, really?
Yeah, there was I sent the article over. He was sick. He couldn't walk. There was something wrong with him. He was bedridden for like 6 years. He didn't want to die.
That gentleman named?
I can't think of his name, but
of course not.
No. But yeah, they sat down with him and said, "Have you considered suicide? We'll assist you. We'll give you this medication, and then we'll yank your heart out."
Luckily, I can save your ass because I can. Man, he looks like life has been real fucking hard on him. Look, this guy, yeah, his facial expression is one of mild interest and pain right there. But Roger Foley alleges in a lawsuit that healthcare workers at the government-affiliated Victoria Hospital in London, Ontario, encouraged him to end his life rather than rack up a costly medical bill. And see, the interesting thing about this is I was under the impression that Canada's healthcare system was free, that they paid for it in taxes.
That's what was confusing to me. Also, why even go through all this if... Oh, snap. Why even go through all that?
Turn off your phone.
I'm surprised you could hear that. It was so low.
It's infuriating.
You're just so popular, buddy. So popular. It was me. I was calling you.
Yeah, he was sending me a dick pic.
You don't have enough gig space to handle this a file that size.
Listen here.
That's not how pictures work.
Listen here, all right? Your package size. I'll just get a converter, right?
What did you turn into, like a zip file or something?
For you, right? I would only need a disk.
Be honest. A floppy? Be honest.
Like your dick.
Be honest. Last dick pic you sent.
Never.
I don't believe you.
I have never once in my life taken a dick pic.
Really?
Yeah. Never? I was always aware of the blackmail potential, and I've dealt with some psychotic bitches in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if she sent that out, you'd be proud of it.
I'd get pictures. I just wouldn't send them back.
I know Karoshi's probably got a whole hidden folder in his phone of dick pics.
Yeah,
of my dick or just various dicks?
Why not mix and match? Mix and match.
Mix and match. There we go.
Karoshi, we know you're sliding some of those over in the Tinder DMs.
No shot.
No.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can send pictures in Tinder DMs, right?
So you're saying you've tried?
No, I'm very aware of the Tinder process. Look, horrific as it may be. But no, I've
just sounds
shared
better.
Pictures with various lovers, yeah. So,
but not you. That's really surprising there.
What's that?
Elon, no, that you've never sent a dick pic, man.
The only look, the only thing I can say I have done is put a ruler next to my dick just to prove the size of it.
And taking a picture?
No.
Oh, just
I always find it really funny, and I do yoga. And one of the things that they say in yoga is when you like do your downward dog, your feet are supposed to be 6 inches apart. Now, I know how long 6 inches, but some of these girls don't. And they be doing like full Jacko fucking poses when they do their downward dog.
And no doubt,
if you guys don't know what a fucking
horse
Jacko
girls
pose
are the
is,
worst for this because they don't know what the size of a dick is because they deal with horse dick.
that's
Yeah. So Google Jacko pose, and I swear to God, that's that's effectively downward dog, but with your legs as far apart as possible, not fucking 6 inches apart. So I swear to God, I swear to God,
definitely make sure
how long 6 inches is.
That you correct some of these women. Make sure you correct them. Let them know that they're wrong.
No. To
be honest, knowing about that experiment of throwing just throwing a ball to somebody, would you let a woman drive and then throwing a ball to them to see if they'd catch it?
That's
while
pretty genius.
They're driving? No,
not while they're just in general, right? You're just throwing the ball.
You just throw the ball to
What kind
them.
of ball? Is it a tennis ball?
It's like a tennis ball.
Am I overhand or
it.
underhand?
Underhand.
Underhand.
Yeah,
Oh, you're talking about like a soft toss.
Yeah.
And if they can't catch that,
see how they react.
Oh, jeez.
It's true. Enjoy the experience.
I'm going to try that at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can't get that on camera. I'll let you know how that goes.
Try not to give her too much heads up.
Yeah.
But, you know,
just
don't beat it at her.
Should I just, hey, baby, you want to drive? Lob.
Like you're tossing her a pair of keys.
Okay. Oh.
That's a good way of doing it, too. Psychological expert.
Is the science sound on...
No, see, I have a racing girl who will get me anywhere in the world 30 minutes or less.
See, that that terrifies me because we already know women drivers no survivors. So the fact that she's speeding and going in out of traffic at an alarming rate, I mean, I've been with my significant other for like 10 years.
Once
and
you
I still
start
get
drifting around on the I-4, you just know. You just know you're in good hands.
Does she not care about your life, about your seed, about who you are? Does she not care if you get maimed in a brutal car accident?
I feel like you have had terrible experiences driving with women. They may have drive you crazy in and out of the vehicle.
My mom is a little Christian conservative lady who I watch my mouth around because I never want to offend her. And months ago, we had the opportunity to ride together in a vehicle, and she took a left turn at an intersection at the last moment. She had all this time. The light was green. She could have made a left turn and waited for the truck, waited for me to be able to see the whites of this dude's eyes before she turned. And I screamed out, "Motherfucker!" Like I thought I was going to die. No correction on her part. She knew she was wrong. Women drivers, no survivors. There you go. I mean, technically, I guess I did survive, but I have had heart palpitations ever since, and it's not looking too good for me, buddy.
Men usually have the multi-card pileups, but women, on average, have more
fender benders. Men die more.
Fender benders or hitting objects.
It's generally more men on the road, anyway. Taxi drivers, Uber drivers, all that, predominantly men. Truckers, anything where you're shipping from one end of the country to the other, or one state to the other, men. These are all predominantly male-driven jobs, and that's the reason why there's more men on the road.
When are we getting the bumper stickers? We're working on a shop right now. We're doing a commercial over the
after the Christmas break.
Yeah, when we're lighting the menorah, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot a commercial for the first official sponsorship we have for Gods and Prophets.
Yeah, we haven't worked out what percentile I'm getting from that. I mean, I'm aiming towards 75%.
We're gonna
and they get the rest.
Here's the thing: for every second that you show on this commercial in person, you'll be paid.
Okay, fly me out. Let's do this.
All right.
Do
we have to cover that?
Technically, I'd have to okay, why are you here? I'm shooting a commercial. Really now? That sounds a whole lot like work. Denied.
And that's how
Yeah,
he
that's
scores
not
the
true.
ugliest of our women, by using that line at the bar.
Honestly, though,
I'm here for work.
at some point, is
Like the rest
is
of the
he worried
immigrants.
about ugliness or weight? Because they could snap him like a twig. You've seen him; he looks like a tall tinsel stick.
Are you talking about me?
Me?
I'm talking about Matt.
No, he is not.
Yeah, he is.
He is built like a brick shithouse. Are you kidding me?
No, no, I'm not. I'm
No.
not. No,
No,
I am a string of piss.
You are thin, but you
Made
are
of string
lean and
beans and
solid.
dreams.
You are solid. I've seen you with your shirt off. That was a great night, but that's a
Shit.
solid dude.
Shh. Silence.
The worst part is when you cut the cheddar.
Not the cheddar.
Yeah, that's what they call when you nut on the abs.
I thought that was when you fart.
I thought that was when you farted.
Yeah, what you're cutting cheddar. He knows terms that nobody else knows. I think there's a. What have you been up to, buddy?
I
Dark.
think he's way more in tuned into.
Oh, I told
like,
you guys that
the
furries
gay
and
sex.
pedophilia are coming
Right.
out strong now, right?
The furryphilia. What is?
Furries and pedophilia are the next step of what's going to be pushed
Oh,
for.
I saw that. I saw
the,
that with children.
Yeah,
Embracing children. Join our team.
Have you seen I Am Shauna Ray? I know I've mentioned this last episode, but I gotta bring it up again. What they're doing is they take someone who was genetically stunted by hormones and is frozen looking like an 8-year-old, but she's 20 years old, having adult relationships and pushing the rainbow propaganda. Like full on,
Really?
full blown,
Right.
loud and proud at the
Is
same time.
Is this like a TV program?
Yeah, I Am Shauna Ray. Now, it's interesting that they're associating her with it because she's normalizing pedophilia. She has adult men fucking with her.
But that's not gay. That's a
No, but it's
disability.
LGBTQRSMNOP, right?
Is that no? Dwarfism doesn't fall into the category of LGBTQT.
It's not.
Does it?
What if it's a fetish, though? If it's
No,
a fetish,
what I'm stating is the fact that physically she appears as an 8-year-old. Fuck anything else you want to say. They're making a show that they're putting on specifically. Turn off all the sound. Stop listening to what the fuck they're saying. Watch what they're doing. They're specifically showing her with adult men.
That is that girl who has that disease, right? Where she stopped.
Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about, and that's freaky. And she has like a boyfriend who wouldn't even appear on camera with her during that interview because he was afraid of the backlash because she looks like an 8-year-old girl.
Correct. It's not what they say, it's what they're do.
Yeah, and she's in her 20s.
Pedophilia has been trying to attach to the rainbow for a while now. Minor attracted persons or MAPS popping up as a new term, groomer being thrown out there. I mean, it's one of those floated in the background. And now that we have transgenderism, what happens when a transgender child who's had taken hormone surgery decides that they're a mature minor and wants to kill themselves because they no longer want to experience their existence anymore?
Then you better tell them that's okay and they can do that.
Dr. Kevorkian is in.
That's right. You better.
And he's ready for you.
I'm so glad we looped this back around to the original subject. Because I thought we were getting a bit off track there.
Never. I am
I
too
did it on
damn
purpose.
good.
I did it on purpose. I like to throw things at Talon
As
and see
many
if he
wrenches
can
as he
wrap it back
possibly
around.
can.
Yeah.
Oh, so many wrenches. So many wrenches.
Here's what it boils down to for me. Is that we're seeing a pipeline be built through government to choose who lives or dies. Socialized healthcare, which is something that America has been saying, look at Canada and how it works for years. Once we implemented Obamacare, which was mandatory healthcare that you had to pay for per year or you'd be punished by the IRS, was implemented, we've had ever-rising healthcare rates with ever-lowering service. More and more deductibles, less and less actual taken care of by insurance companies. And now, you're going to tell me in the same realm of we just experienced the past couple of years, people getting put on ventilators, giving those hospitals that put anybody with COVID on ventilators getting $40,000 per person. You're going to tell me that you offer an amount of money. It doesn't even have to be a lot, but you offer any amount of money. But Oregon specifically, because of how nice and expensive and in desire they are for, hey, I'm a crime lord. I've been blowing fucking cocaine up my nose for 20 fucking years. I've eaten away the lining and I have a bad kidney. I need a new kidney stat.
And then instead of waiting on that list for months and months up to a year, you have a new kidney within a few days. Then you get a nice headline in the paper. Wow, look at this. Look what they've done.
Her voice and body is just like an 8-year-old. Even her parents said that people she dated were weird. And it's really... NAMBLA, National Man-Boy Love Association.
North American Man-Boy Love Association.
There we go.
I know that because I've read it. Correction. Hold on. I'm reading it now. I have an article pulled up.
He knows that because he's a member. Sworn to secrecy. And remember, pedophilia is the next step. Bestiality and pedophilia is the next gateway. We live in a country right now that is having retention military problems because nobody wants to fight for Globo Homo. Nobody wants to fight for the rainbow flag at all. Everywhere we go for a military base, we put up a rainbow flag with the American flag, and we put it on the same equality. And I got to tell you, as a veteran,
no.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, as a veteran, no. I didn't sign up to push sexual identity. I signed up to protect the flesh and oil of my country.
You went there fighting for 3 colors, not all of them.
I never got the insurance. I just paid the penalty, which is way less cheaper than the monthly insurance. I don't do doctors. And see, that's the thing. Doctors in Western medicine are great for trauma. You got a bleeding arm, or your arm's cut off.
Yeah, we can fix you up.
Or they can patch you up. But for long-term pain, we have the worst, most litigationist, worst industry that exists anywhere. Because chiropractic, that's not acupuncture. Look at how acupuncture works. Look at massage therapy. We don't fix the pathology. We blame the victim. That's what's happened. It's you fucked up. Because you fucked up, we're not going to pay for you. Kill yourself. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Right?
They don't want you to be better. They don't want you to be
They don't want you to be better, but when you boil it down to is they don't want you. And that's what I'm really truly pointing out in this episode today, is that these cocksuckers want to kill us while smiling. It's just like how you kill a sheep. Do you know how to kill a sheep?
No, I don't. I mean, don't you take the metal bar with the gun and ram it into his head?
No, if you want to kill a sheep and you want to do it, what you do is you talk gentle, nice words. It's okay. Everything's fine. Your family's here.
Calm it down so those muscles aren't stiff when you try to eat it later.
Then you get them laying down. We're fine. Everything's okay. And then you draw the blade along their neck while you gently hold them down. You don't even have to be forceful. Gentle pressure on the chest while they bleed out.
It was oddly specific.
And that's the same methodology they're using right now. They're saying it's great. It's okay. I know we're following Germany's darkest path where they were euthanizing people in Action T4 by medical-assisted suicide in Canada, but it's okay. It's for the greater good. We're all good.
One thing
it's fine.
Was messed up is a lot of the folks
homeless.
In those psychiatric hospitals.
We don't like you.
There in
the mental hospital
1960s, the were Christian and Catholic mental institutions, and the boards of those mental institutions told Hitler, yeah, sure, go ahead, you can take them, you can put them down if you need to.
But at what point, who decides? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the architect here? We're allowing government to get to the point where they're this uncaring father figure that if you annoy them enough, they'll just kill you. They'll Waco, Ruby Ridge you. They'll MK Ultra you by putting propaganda, repealing the Smith-Munn Act in 2013. They'll push gender identity. They'll push racial identity in front of you. They'll push ideology. They'll push religion. Anything in front to distract you from the fact that they're raiding the money in the coffers. Billions of dollars are going out of the country instead of in our fucking infrastructure. They're not going to food. They're not going for power. They're not going for roads. They're not going so everybody gets a pimp-ass car.
I need a pimp-ass car.
Yeah, I want a pimp-ass fucking car. Fuck you, pay me.
Sure, it's going to run like a piece of shit, but I do like the look of those Tesla Cybertrucks. So
they do,
and if they ever come out,
I think that the whole reason that Elon Musk put the name Cybertruck is he had the right to be proud for that design. It looks cool as shit. I'll give it to you, Matt. It's a fucking great design. I would love to have it as a Micro Machine or a Hot Wheel.
They have them as Hot Wheels.
You know? How much? $1,000?
What are they, probably $10 now?
It's a collector's edition. It'll be $1,000. I would want to have mine signed by Elon. That'd be nice. I'd keep that.
You can get a remote control Cybertruck.
Has released it.
$17.
The mega Tesla Cybertruck vehicle collector's truck. 242 pounds. What the fuck?
Told you. It wasn't going to be nothing cheap.
No. I just want one. Oh, what? Here we go. 124 alloy die-cast model pullback Cybertruck vehicle.
What's 240 pounds in real money?
Like almost $450, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less.
I thought the parity for the EU then dollar was closer than that. Have we gone? Have you healed? Has the UK healed?
No, I haven't looked at it any time recently. Oh, Hot Wheels truck. Okay, 20 pounds.
1 British pound is $1.22.
So about 25 US for
$1.25
for that.
Just add 25 cents and multiply it by cost. Oh wait, do we have to do Common Core math where we all act like smooth brain midwits?
You have to. There are people that really like that Common Core math,
and those people are dumb.
Oh, here you go.
Core math,
$13.
Common Core math.
$14 for a Tesla Cybertruck Hot Wheels. There you go.
Sweet.
There we go. That's a number I can understand. As I
13,
drive on the right side of the road.
$13.95 of your cents.
Well, we're the only one who has sense in this world. It seems like.
Right, American sense. I don't know where I'm. That's all I got. That's.
It's a crime of change.
It's definitely
passion.
Canada doesn't have any sense. Good Lord.
I don't
believe the Hot Wheels got the license for that. So,
I mean, you got to remember that he probably just sold it and gets a percentage of the profit. I don't know.
I mean, he must be making more of it than he is off those blue ticks on fucking Twitter. That's
How do we get to the point where corporations control speech, governments control your body till you die, and they ban everything that breaks the mental chains they put on you? MK Ultra is real, and it's all in your television.
When do you think the next big government conspiracy will be exposed?
I mean, they're already going to expose COVID-19.
Okay,
I guess that's what lab leak. You know, they keep pushing everything off.
Oh, that gentleman that wrote the book, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, remember, we have Control of Information Act, so anything that is not liked to listen to or paints the government in a bad light is removed immediately. And
we're
the
also
danger
very fortunate
of this
for our distractions that we have, like Yi on Alex Jones. People can get distracted by him acting like a crazy person and not realizing that this book is being released from this Wuhan lab whistleblower saying, oops, we fucked it up.
How is Yi acting crazy for pointing out the hypocrisy of forcing everybody else to
the news media is saying
emotional.
He's crazy. The news media, when I say the distraction is, the distraction is the news media prancing
But that's
around,
what they do. They
crazy
use false idols the ideologues, these fake faces of popular people from high school.
Yeah,
and they
why would you not worship him?
us.
He makes shoes, buddy. Shitty shoes that I wouldn't wear.
Who the fuck wants to wear clothing with the name of somebody who has never met you and had a warm human memory? The idea of worshiping, the idea of being successful and in his shoes or her shoes is how they keep catching us with this branding bullshit to begin with.
So if I made socks, would you buy some?
If you made socks, for example, and then they were only for children of the transgender variety, and then you started converting your children to trans children, and then you put that in a blog somewhere, you'd make thousands of dollars, right?
Christ, I was just talking about wearing my socks because of all the warm human memories we have, but that's not a bad idea. I don't have to convert my own kids, though, right?
You just say that you do. You can lie on the internet.
Okay, I'm going to start a mommy blog.
Yeah, start a mommy blog.
Oh, man, those moms make a lot of money off those blogs sometimes.
Really?
Yes, we should do that. We should start our own mommy blog.
Considering the fact that we're raising our own independent clans, yeah.
I bet if we legally changed our names to something female or said that, hey, we're now women, we would have the top mommy blog in the business because men that say they're women are getting all the awards.
Are the best women.
Are the best women.
After all, look at Caitlyn Jenner.
Exactly. Woman of the year. Jinx.
Woman for 2 months.
That's right. Oh, this is a great idea. We're going to go ahead and audio trademark this.
I'm just saying, we're looking at the competitive industries of killing. I hope that what we see is a lot of trans doctors taking the lead.
I agree. I hope. Not women doctors, though, because it might not take.
Well, women doctors are mostly going to be key critical compassion care.
What's funny
I'd rather have a woman doctor than
there's a lot of women like serial killers that say are nurses that give older patients lethal injections of different concoctions and under the because they're so old, they're just dying anyway, it was a respiratory infection, and they can get away with killing 30, 40, 50 people before they're caught. There's been a couple of these that have come to light. One of them, I believe, was in Canada. Now, she should have waited a couple years. Now she can do it legally.
Not only, well, speaking about a doctor, you said what? How many?
A few?
30, 40, 50? That's cute. There's a woman by the name of Weeb, Dr. Weeb, who has murdered, I believe, 500 people by her own hand in Vancouver.
This is the bitch that's murdered the 400 to 500 people.
This is the bitch that's murdered the 400 or 500 people.
But
yes.
The medical institution that she works for is not pressed any charges because they believe she's doing it for the right cause, even though the government is telling her no.
Here we go. Dr. Ellen Weeb cleared after review by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of British Columbia. A Vancouver doctor accused of sneaking in and killing someone at a Jewish nursing home has been cleared of wrongdoing by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of BC. The Loubrier Home and Hospital filed a complaint last year after Dr. Ellen Weeb provided a resident with medical assisted dying on site in 2017. Remember, this was the very year that they implemented it.
I've got one to add to that. There's a very famous person in the UK. Well, he's passed away now, but Harold Shipman. And between 1975 and I want to say 1998, he was convicted of killing at least 12 people. However, they reckon it's closer to 250.
Wild. Jeez. Good Lord.
And now, he was basically a doctor and he fucked people up.
I gotta stress this. Dying with Dignity. Do not go to their website. It is the Canadian
advocacy
group for
euthanasia.
And I have to say this as a cybersecurity specialist, because Die with Dignity, when you go in and you look at the storage of cookies, I'm just going to pop it on the screen so you guys can see here. When you go in and look at the storage of cookies, the application is installing a jar, a hot jar, which allows them to figure out who is looking at it. And they're installing cookies without permission.
For what reason would they want to know who's looking at it?
Well, you got to figure, remember, we have a social media campaign that has been proven in Canada that they can find out who donated to truckers to lock them out of bank accounts. So just flip the same mindset. Anybody who goes to Dying with Dignity on Canada finds out that they don't like this and then goes onto social media and blasts it. If they got your Google ID from your analytics, because Google is now used to sign into just about anything, they know who you are and what you've said. And now, if we have, you know, our example of NSA,
crime, or almost a thought
they could
crime.
do speech crime.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. I mean, in Canada and some places in the UK, it's actually happening. Getting arrested for the things that you say.
Well, they're already trying to push that you cannot speak about certain events in America, such as Sandy Hook.
Oh yeah, they showed that with Alex Jones by suing him and winning
for
almost
billions of dollars.
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion.
Just about $1 trillion, wasn't it?
It was
850
I was a
billion?
billion. I lost track after $1 billion because at that point,
maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe it was almost $1 billion. And
I think they just kept labeling personal lawsuits and awarding them to the individual families.
It was almost $1 billion. I thought it was.
But just look at that.
Almost $1 trillion. I don't know what I was
They're
doing.
trying to push the concept of speech to have yes speech and no speech, and no speech is bad speech, and bad speech is punished. How are we going to punish you? Bank accounts. Canada.
We're going to take the food
Suicide,
out of your mouth.
Canada. Starvation and homelessness. Canada. You can no longer own a gun.
Canada.
You can no longer manufacture a gun. Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these are things that they layer over and over again until they have a nice big maple leaf sandwich.
I mean, doesn't Justin Trudeau get voted in every few years? People keep voting for him.
Do you remember when they had Australian vaccine camps for COVID-19?
That was so long ago.
I can't wait till they start doing the same thing they do in China, where they're locking everybody up and gunning them down if they leave. Now imagine doing that for the homeless in Canada, where you volunteer to be medically assisted suicide. And if you're not, well, what they'll do is they'll just escort you to a van and take care of you anyway.
Bring you to a camp, or they just do you in the van?
Bring you a camp. Because remember, if they can restrict your freedoms and they can convince people it's for their safety, then what happens?
Imagine trying to sell that. We're going to make a camp for all the homeless people. It's going to be great. Come on down to camp. Trademark.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
What was shit. Euthanasia. Oh, motherfucker. There was something where I was watching where they called the place where they euthanize people home. So they were saying coming home.
Coming home.
They called the center a home for where they were euthanizing people.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, so imagine instead of having a camp, just say, come home.
As Peterson says, so in other words, not committing suicide means you have no dignity. Got it. Why to make normal people feel like pieces of shit?
Normal? Who's normal in a period where we're all chasing social excellence?
I would like to think that I'm normal, that I don't want to kill myself. Can I bring up your blisters for a second? Good Lord. What is that from?
Oh, from my feet?
Yeah.
I've been practicing martial arts.
Sweet. So I'm normal. I don't want to kill myself. I have no intention of doing that. Every time, my kids wake up a little early, I have the thought, but it's not suicide. It's murder-suicide. So.
Murder-suicide?
Murder-suicide.
I didn't know you were a Jones.
If you're going to go out, let it be murder-suicide.
I feel like there's a real benefit to the government allowing people to kill themselves.
And what would that be?
The idea is making it illegal to kill yourself means that they can charge you with a crime after the attempt.
So it would be, what's fucked? Like, if you wanted it to be something that's private and in your own home, and even if you wrote up all this documentation and you had, like, let's say your wife or something take you out, she would go to prison forever. But you could do the same exact thing, go to a hospital, and some stranger can do it for you. Totally legal.
That's where I'm saying the benefit is really and truly get to the and go inside of your baby and figure out, remove the bad genes so they don't have any long-term cloning, genetics, all this should have been about removing the weak strengths without punishing people for it. Right?
Right.
Find the biodiversity and create the best of us by using all of us because we all have specialties. And yet, the way that it's working is, instead of being like Spartan, where you throw the baby out into the heap pile of bones because it's a little twisted, what we're doing is we're taking the twisted child and raising it and then supporting it for its entire life. And this is a burden to society. It may hurt, but it takes a village to take care of. It takes like 5 hands to take care of one person who has a problem.
We don't have villages anymore.
We're all isolated gypsies who are removed from our social network.
Are you suggesting that doctors should, let's say, do a scan, see that the child is not going to be up to par, and then make the decision to dispose of that child for the mother?
No, what I'm saying is, why are we not at the point that they know what's wrong with it and they can offer the therapy to fix it inside of them? We're at the point now where we could just let genetic abnormalities die out naturally.
By therapy?
By living out their life. With the advent of cloning technology, we don't need euthanasia. We just need to prevent them from fucking.
That's
different.
It's very, very different, because we talked about like consent with those types of folks, and can they consent to even bang in the first place?
Can you consent as a retard?
Yeah.
Can you?
I said no.
If you're a Downey with a banging body,
yeah, like on the.
Can you say yes?
A Downey with a banging body? Yes. It depends on how Downey. This is not the hill I want to die on, but it depends on.
Jesus.
It depends on how Downey they are.
How downy they be?
How downy? How soft?
How downy are you?
How down? I'm like a 3. I don't even know how high the scale goes, but let's just say that, yeah. But I see what you're saying. You want to prevent them from.
We could eliminate with this selectively, instead of just making it about what they'll end up doing. They'll end up killing people who politically they don't agree with, and they'll end up killing people who they think are a burden, who access too many resources without giving more, right? But that's all because we've removed the tribal sense of belonging. We're all numbers.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore. That's quite a shame.
Well, we do, and that's where friendships, and I really do love the fact we live in a time where the Library of Alexandria is available for us. All these books that can't be burned. People are they're trying to control access to knowledge by putting it behind paywalls, studies, or individual access, or just denying the information by putting a whole bunch of shit out there, like engines that run on water.
It's funny, aren't the people that are doing these studies getting paid by tax dollars to perform and do these peer-reviewed studies?
There is no peer-reviewed study. There's no network of peer-reviewed studies that are designed to go and check a person's work. You only have to prove it twice.
But you're saying that these studies are behind paywalls. Aren't the people conducting these studies paid?
They get grants.
They get grants, which are taxpayer-funded.
They could be.
So if you get a grant,
it's private grants are existing.
Well, if you get a grant that's a government grant, you shouldn't be able to put your work behind it.
Proprietary comes in, and also how the pharmaceutical companies, in Canada, in America, they all operate off of
grants, right? They get the taxpayer to fund their.
They all operate off of having a budget, doing research, trying to get something approved.
Their research
for sale.
Yeah. The taxpayer funds their research, and then after however many years they bring it to market.
Taxpayer pays for the approval board that gets bribed by the companies that are successful.
And then they're paying for the pills on top of that.
And then they're paying for the pills on top of that every time they go to the doctor.
Yum. Yum.
Isn't
amazing.
It great?
I love it.
Is it? And by treating people like cattle, because they're idiots, you get to milk them both ways.
Both ways?
Both ways. You get to milk them on the way of developing the chemical? You get to milk them using the chemical. Like, how come insulin's so fucking expensive? .exe.
That kind of milking. Okay, never mind. All right, that's not fun.
How is it that there's a vaccine core that is for the children?
We're not supposed to talk about that.
We're not supposed to. You know, that's the thing. I was reading a book that your mom gave me. Wish I could remember it. It was about
arsenal of those in her library.
It was about vaccinations, but the interesting thing to me is, since 1986, the Child Vaccine Act, any vaccine that's approved for children doesn't have any corporate liability to side effects.
So no matter what happens to your child in a negative way by receiving this vaccine, they're not held responsible.
Are they going to do that for the people, for the corporations that are killing people up there?
They were doing that here in the States with the immigrants coming over the border, and they weren't vaccinating them because they were not because they could be held liable because they weren't a citizen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they've been approving the process, really and truly, and how we haven't really seen a large population increase in the northern states.
Damn, that's heavy, man.
We're all treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed shit.
You're going to say, eat me. I will.
So, on that dour note, Florida man.
Jeez. Okay.
Florida man.
Finally got some Florida man. Ooh. Guys, got to give me a break. I am working with cell phone today.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
Which one are we going to close first?
The close is going to... first one is the Tampa guy. His own gun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Inside joke. All right. In Tampa, Florida, this Florida man, an armed suspect was accidentally shot by his own gun as he was being arrested by Hillsborough County deputies Saturday night. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said that just before 8 p.m., the deputies responded to the Tampa truck stop on North U.S. Highway 301 about a man who was brandishing a gun. Deputies said the suspect in question, who has not been named as of this report, refused to obey their commands, so they took him into custody. However, while he was being detained, the suspect gun accidentally went off and injuring him. I think that's hilarious.
You know,
this guy.
So, here's the question I have. Accidentally how? I've seen loaded firearms drop and not go off.
There's a great video that shows this of a gentleman teaching a firearms course, and he's telling people about proper gun safety. He's a large man. I think he was probably ex-Army, and he went to pull his gun out of his holster to show people how to hold it properly, and he ended up shooting himself in the leg. So it happens. Maybe he was putting it back in his pocket. Maybe he was trying to hand it to police, and he just gave that trigger.
Or maybe the police were removing it, and it triggered, and they just called it an accident.
That's right. Maybe the cop was trying to pat him down and was like, this motherfucker, bang!
I mean, truly, we'll never know.
No.
It's just an accidental discharge.
But this
kind of
guy
like when you
is
wipe off your face.
Definitely still alive. Another Tampa story. A Florida man died early Monday morning after crashing into a cow. The FHP said that around 1:34 a.m., a 62-year-old LaBelle man was driving his SUV north on State Road 70. However, things turned deadly after a cow wandered in front of the man's vehicle and causing him to crash into the animal. According to the FHP, the man's SUV flipped and threw him out of the vehicle. I bet he got a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. I bet they wrote that shit and threw it on his body. Then wheeled him into the...
Push the talk, fam.
Wheeled him into the ambulance.
And last but not least, High Springs man arrested for attempting to rob cell phone repair store. According to the Lucia Police Department, Austin Michael Croy was arrested and charged for robbery with a weapon. APD said that Croy went to the Healthy Phone Tech and gathered 2 Blue Phone speakers with a total of $120 and began to try to exit the store. I mean, how do you try to exit the store? You just beeline.
You just beeline, but I think he was waving and...
I'm stealing your shit! He was then stopped by the store clerk. Again, why do you stop?
You don't. You beeline.
And then he was told he had to purchase the items.
Corey
then put the items back and left his shirts on a gun and taser on his way out. He told the clerk he does what he wants. He then went to his car, proceeded to put a bandana on his face and a blue jacket. Of course, his store clerk and customers locked the door and went to the back of the building. He returned pounding on the door. When officers arrived, he was still pounding the front door and arrested. Wow, you know what? I gotta tell you, I am so lucky that I have at least 2 functioning brain cells that told me that was a terrible fucking play.
He already had the gun and the taser on him. He could have taken everything from the store and been in and out of there like a demon's whisper, but instead he stuck around banging on the door like an idiot. And
he didn't even get the profit.
No.
Nor did he get a gun.
Just the Bubba.
And I'm telling truth.
Mark Santana.
Matt Karoshi.
And this has been Gods and Prophets. Stay safe out there because your government is trying to kill you, Canada. The day of the rake is coming